Next, I'd like to introduce James Powell, chair of the NumFOCUS Board of Directors and longtime volunteer with our organization. James has played a leading role in developing our PyData community engagement program and brings both technical expertise and a thoughtful and creative presence to his work with NumFOCUS. James is the founder of Don't Use This Code, a professional consulting and training service. He is also a regular PyData conference presenter and has served on several conference organizing and speaker selection committees. James, welcome.
Thank you for that introduction, Terry, and welcome everybody to the NumFOCUS Supporter Summit for 2021. It is an absolute pleasure to be here joining all of you to hear more about what NumFOCUS has gone through over the last year or the last 10 years and what we have to look forward to in the upcoming 10 years. In this particular portion of the presentation, we'd like to talk about community building. We'd like to talk about, in specific, the PyData community in the form of the PyData conferences and the PyData meetups. And this is how I originally got started with NumFOCUS. For those of you who I haven't had the opportunity to meet, I got started as a volunteer, helping out at the line level with PyData events, handing out badges and folding t-shirts. And I saw the passion with which the NumFOCUS staff, at the time, Leah and a couple of interns brought to these events, and it was very inspiring for me. This led me to deepen my involvement in NumFOCUS, where I started to get involved in not just one PyData event, but multiple PyData events, and not just folding t-shirts and handing out badges, but helping to find speakers, find venues, helping to work together with the organizing committees to make these events happen. I was lucky enough to be asked to join NumFOCUS as a vice president with purview over all PyData events about 6 years ago, and about 2 or 3 years ago to join the NumFOCUS board as its chairperson. And so it is with an absolute pleasure to introduce to you the next presenter, Jim Weiss. I've had an opportunity to know Jim Weiss since about 2017, when he joined NumFOCUS to help us with organizing all of the events. Originally, we had maybe 1 or 2 PyData events, New York, and we do something in Silicon Valley, but very quickly, the strength of the community, the passion of the community, the energy of the community allowed this to expand to over 12 global events. I believe it's up to 14 global in-person conferences, plus a virtual-only global event that was started last year and is continuing this year and hopefully will continue into the future. Jim will be joined by 2 of the chairs from our most recent virtual event, PyData Global 2021, who will speak to a little bit of the history of PyData Global, the history of PyData itself, and what we have to look forward to in the future. But before I hand it over to Jim, I want to remind all of you what it means to be a supporter of NumFOCUS. Because oftentimes people take this to mean a financial supporter. Not quite. It turns out that there are many ways to be a part of the mission and to be a part of the vision of NumFOCUS. And there are many different ways to be a part of supporting NumFOCUS. You can support NumFOCUS by going to an event and volunteering. You can support NumFOCUS by being part of the organizing committee for an event, or creating a new event in your locality, or starting a meetup, or just attending and meeting people and sharing with them how important all of this work is to your work. You can be a supporter of NumFOCUS by just emailing the project developers and saying, I use scikit-learn every day and it's great and I love all the work that you've put into it. It really changes their lives. You can be a supporter of NumFOCUS by going to your boss and saying, you know what, we use scikit-learn every day and it really has changed our lives. Maybe we can support the development of it financially.
Wanted to say that as a community-driven organization, it's important to NumFOCUS to incorporate ideas, suggestions, and feedback from community members whenever we have the opportunity. So during this supporter summit, we wanted to give our community members the chance to make their voices heard, especially in terms of why they've chosen to support NumFOCUS through their donations, their time, their advocacy, or all of the above. So up next is a message from Matthew Rocklin. He's an initial Dask author and maintainer of the project, which is a NumFOCUS sponsored project, and he's also a volunteer with NumFOCUS.
NumFOCUS is an incredible partner to the open science and open source communities. My name is Matthew Rocklin, and I'm a community member, a maintainer of a popular open source package, Dask, and the CEO of a company, Coiled. And I've found that NumFOCUS has been an incredible partner at every stage along that journey. As a community member and as a student early on, I found the PyData conference series, which was a warm and welcoming event where I was able to be educated and excited along with my peers. I found lots of good folks to connect with that could help continue my journey. Over time, a lot of us made Dask, a popular open source package for distributed computing in Python. We found that NumFOCUS was invaluable as Dask grew because we needed a safe and trusted home for all of Dask's legal matters that wasn't a company. And NumFOCUS was trusted by everybody. They really form a good community center for the broader open source space. We use NumFOCUS for things like holding grants, any sort of legal or hiring issues, as well as just generally being a nice community platform for us. Then, as Dask really took off, some of us split off and made a company, a for-profit company, Coiled. And again, we found that NumFOCUS was invaluable, both for common things like hiring, but also we found that NumFOCUS was an incredible entity for us to use in a trusted way. So we could split between our for-profit and our nonprofit activities. We also trusted NumFOCUS enough that we asked them to host our community conference, host and manage and run the Dask Summit this year, which is an incredible success. NumFOCUS really puts on a great show. NumFOCUS has been so helpful for us at every stage in our journey that we're happy to support NumFOCUS in return. I encourage you to engage with NumFOCUS and support them for whatever makes sense for where you are in your journey. We found them to be a great success. I generally don't think that the Python space would be anywhere near where it is today without them. Cheers.